Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio
is in the house.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Let's roll. You're listening to Sergeant's Time on WTF Nation Radio.
All right. Oh, man. Break them off some. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence this 25 February 2021. Just one UIC from being an official organization. WTF Nation Radio. Wow. Let's start off with some breaking news, I guess. I guess there's some Xbox Live is down. No, just kidding. No, really, Xbox Live is down, I guess. Real quick, I guess we've begun operations in Syria. U.S. has carried out airstrike against Iranian-backed militia targets in Syria. More to follow, of course, on that note. But tonight's event is a special event. I remember a few weeks back I asked the WTF Nation for some input on questions for the Army G1, right? And what ended up happening is that you all submitted your questions, and I got all your questions in, and we finally now have the U.S. Army's Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, Lieutenant General Gary Brito, Sergeant Major Mark Clark, and Miss Carol Burton from the Army G1. I have a ton of questions to ask. I also had some follow-up questions either, and I'm ready for this. This is cool, Spanky. I mean, isn't this your jam already? This is like your.
I know. I've been working on this.
This is like your big project here. Yeah, it's like your eighth.
And finally have them on, because we all have those kind of questions, and especially today. We have a lot of new questions today, so I'm looking forward to them coming on. I'm looking forward to hopefully everybody's questions get answered. Please don't be mad at me if they don't. We only have an hour with them. They have other G1 things to do.
They have. I mean, they're like, this is the G1. This is like the. This is the G1 and the G1 Sergeant Major and the A civilian that work, and that's the head sheds. So you're gonna get. Don't be asking about no cover sheets that your unit's been doing. Don't be asking about that stuff, because that's a unit event. But I will say that if the questions that I'm asking are the ones that you've submitted already ways back when we thought they were going to come on before. So don't worry about it. These are some of the questions you can ask. I think there's some pretty good questions, and I think going back and forth with the staff already, with the Army staff, they were pretty amiable to some of the questions that we had. So I think we're good. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm like, is it time yet? No, it's not. You got to listen to us first.
Yeah, you had to listen to us ramble. So, speaking of Army G1 like things. Okay, do expert soldier badge. Yeah, exactly. I already see Josiah in there. You know, I didn't even think about playing that stinger. I should have played that stinger. That Lieutenant Stinger with the expert soldier badge.
Yeah.
I should have done that. Okay, so there's a new change. AR 67-1. Isn't this timing, right? We have timing now.
Timing.
So what do you think about this? Changes of AR 67-1.
Well, they have several new changes. There is the following changes are effective immediately, and this is as today, tomorrow. What date? Don't get me wrong. Okay, the memo was dated yesterday, but anyway,
right.
There is no minimum hair length for female soldiers, and all soldiers are permitted to wear natural highlights.
Let me say that again.
That's the first one.
All soldiers. Go ahead.
All soldiers are allowed to wear natural highlights. So once upon a time, females couldn't have their hair so short that it was masculine in appearance. Now we can. Like, if we decide we want to, have a high and tight or whatever, we can according to reg. And also, everybody's allowed to have natural looking highlights. And to me, most people's hair is naturally highlighted, like if you have lighter color hair from the sun and everything. So now you're allowed to have natural color highlights. You can go get them in. I wouldn't go thinking 90s Backstreet Boys. No, it wasn't Backstreet Boys. It was NSYNC with the Justin Timberlake ramen noodle ones. But, because that's not very natural looking.
Right.
But natural highlights, those are allowed. That's cool. Let's see. Okay,
so real quick, the memorandum, if you guys not seen it, it's already been posted and tweeted out. Morgan had tweeted it out, and also the main page posted it. And it's announcing that this is the acting secretary of the Army. Has already stated that recognizing the previous authorized appearance and grooming policies fail to accommodate different and unique physical characteristics of all soldiers. So we're committed to ensuring that soldiers are offered options for grooming and appearance. So the following changes are effective immediately, and no minimum hair length, like you said. Female soldiers are permitted to wear a ponytail or braid in the utility uniform during physical training and tactical operations. Isn't that crazy? That's opposite from what it used to be.
No, and this is actually needed. Even we won't even go into how it can cause female hair loss and stuff like that. If you have a bun in the back of your ACH, you cannot fire a weapon with your hair in reg. So I know I would just usually pull mine down. Nobody really cared while I was on the range or anything, but I had to be out of reg in order to qualify. In order to be able to shoot correctly.
Right.
So that is needed.
That is. So and there's a lot of individuals out there that are going, this is going to get caught up in.
What?
It's going to get caught up in it. I just think it's funny when someone says it's going to get caught up. I always
just stop right there.
Well, because when I was a kid, when you used to do things, and when someone tell you, like a parent or somebody, like an elder or some mentor, and you say, if you do that, don't make that face because your face will stick that way, and then you kind of you kind of think about it, and you're just picturing yourself, oh yeah, okay, if I make that face, or your mom tells you, hey, don't pop your neck because the next time you try to pop your neck, your head will fly off. So I'm picturing myself, trying to pop my neck and then my head flies off, something like that. Some of the most outlandish scenarios that everybody was talking about it was just out like crazy. What happens if they get in hand-to-hand combat and they get their hair pulled?
They can't pull her hair now.
What happens if they get their head cut, their head hit in a rotor blade? I'm thinking, for a soldier to have to have their head get their hair twisted up in a rotor blade, they literally would have to climb up in the helicopter and purposely jump into it to get to it.
I know, and the people that say this, like I said, I've seen the comments are mostly men. We have had our hair, but this time in our life, most of our adult lives, we know how to live with it and not get it caught in the ceiling fan or in the toaster.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Fry and bake it.
Isn't it? You better watch out. That long hair is going to make you. It's almost like they're making it sound like your hair is going to sneak from the back of your collar and snake towards something. It's going to be like. it's gonna it's gonna snake over to
Like it has a mind of its own.
exactly. It's gonna be like, oh my. So when I see the comments and I read the comments like that, that's exactly what I picture. I picture that right there. Some soldiers going, well, what happens if your hair gets caught in a helicopter? And then my old immature mind sometimes will start wandering, and then I think of some ponytail going, huh? And then like looking around, and then like trying to pull a soldier's hair down, and I just think that it's like, oh man.
No, and it kills me. And then I said, when was the last time we were in hand-to-hand combat? Again, you guys know for those of you who have listened to us before, my feelings on combatives, and I just thought that was Army speak for let people do pretend MMA stuff because I think it's worthless. Because if I'm in hand-to-hand combat with someone, I'm not going to be worried about like rules and arm bars. I'm going to beat them with the first thing I have. If I'm out of ammo, I can beat them with my weapon. So my ponytail is really not going to like affect my hand-to-hand combat skills. You can grab it if you want to.
Well, I'm about to say, I don't. Yeah, the combatives thing. I mean, I'm just seeing the excuses. What happens if it does this, or what happens if exactly that? Fixed ponytails and fixed bayonets. Exactly that, Jonathan. I see you in the chat, so they're all making your little comments. So again, they're authorized to wear multiple neat in appearance hairstyles at once. So you can have more than one hairstyle.
I know what they're talking about there. It's hard for me to explain it in my head. Like, for instance, if I braid my hair back and then need to put the rest of it in a ponytail, or I'm not an expert on Black females' hair, but I know that they can have like you could have some braids now, and and some twists, or like you can mix those two together now, and you couldn't before. And like I said, it's just got to be neat and professional. So
I just want to know
that one.
I just want to know what the thing about the beards. Why beards? Why not beards? We can ask them that. Can we ask?
I mean, we can.
We can ask them about the beards. Yeah. What about beards from exactly that?
All right, like that's all the feedback I've heard too. Is what about beards? What about beards? I'm like, is that don't be mad at all these females and their changes. They had nothing to do. Ain't none of us out there like campaigning to make sure nobody gets beards. Like, I don't care. Like, if y'all can have a beard, go for it. It's the same reason. Like we don't want to pull our hair back all the time because you can have hair loss. I have seen ingrown hairs and know what that would be like. And,
oh my God! Everyone's here comes everybody with the seals, the beard, or the mask.
It is quite simple. You do the test with the beard and then see if it seals. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Cut your beard shorter. It's that easy. Do the little patch test.
Exactly. What about man buns? Deed's like, what about man buns? Exactly that. What about soft personnel, or some duty positions with some organizations? They're authorized to wear beards, and that's a good question. I'm going to ask that one. That's going to be my question. Everybody else has got their other questions, but there's another one I'm going to ask.
Yeah, they, like I said, definitely. I mean, a mask can seal with a beard. The new M50s can.
That's right, because you were Bernie. So the beard stuff is funny. Everyone, exactly that, Sean. You know what? If you're going to be able to grow a beard, at least grow a beard. Don't be growing no patchy
neck
beard.
Beards.
Yeah, don't be growing no neck beard or all patchy. You have to grow a beard. You know what I mean? So.
Well, Ben, we don't have to now because enough of us women got together and petitioned to change it. Because he's saying if you don't want hair loss, to get a profile where your hair differently, like men have to get a profile for beards. Like I said, you're the kind that I'm mad at, and I'm calling you out. Like, why are you mad at us? Because we got something changed. They're like, we're finally catching up. We're finally catching up. Like, you're mad.
No, it's okay.
Stop being mad.
No, go ahead, Sark.
It is not affecting you in any way, shape, or form what my hair is doing.
A patchwork. Exactly. There's going to be a lot of people with it's going to be some interesting beer if we were to ever have about that stuff. We are going to talk about 10th Mountain. Okay, so if you guys not seeing we might as well go into it now. Are we done yelling at everybody in the chat, Sir Spanky?
Other than that, it's just that we can wear lipstick again and some nail polish. And the guys can wear some clear nail polish too. So, but that's all the change.
Well, see, there you go, man.
Yeah, you guys can wear some clear nail polish.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You got to change. And I really don't care what's on your fingernails. It affects my life in no way, shape, or form. Just like mine don't affect yours. Fuck off with your beard shit. I don't care. Like I said, do your own. Petition them. I signed a little change.org for y'all.
You sound toxic, Spanky. You sound toxic.
Oh, I sound toxic. Okay. Oh, it's about uniformity. Then what was the uniformity if we could have a bun and you couldn't? It wasn't a problem then.
What's up with that? I want that.
So
Why not me? I wanted a bun.
either.
Now I get to grow. Well, now back in the day, now you can wear nail polish. You know what I mean? Now you can get manis and petties together. Now we could go. Now we could go to the shop. You know, man. There's some yeah. Hey, look. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Vinny Knuckles. Relax, man. We're totally gonna talk about 10th Mountain. We're totally gonna talk about that, man. Yes, we got you, man. You sound like... Man, Vinny is like, woo! He's fired up. Man.
Yeah.
It must
we'll get there, Vinny.
I know, it's okay. When he... It must be the beard. Must be the beard thing. Man, gosh, man. He's like, woof. Man, it's like, God, Vinny's just like
Y'all
fired.
angry.
Yeah, I'm like distracted. You even got my kid going back in the background. Man, God, there's... Sheesh. Woo. God, that's man, that's kind of like, gosh, I'm kind of like, God, dude, you're really that mad. Yes, we got it. We got that. We're talking about it. We're going to talk about it. Okay, so real quick, you all seen the video then, all right? So that way people are freaking out. I'm sorry, we had to make sure that everyone circle around Vinny right now.
All right.
Everyone stop. Everyone look at Vinny. We're looking at you. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 10th Mountain story, all right?
Let's do this.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, we're not. We're there, Vinny.
We're there, Vinny. We're right. We're Vinny. We're right there, Vinny.
All the things.
Yeah, exactly. This is fucking hilarious, man. Oh my God. So, a viral video showing soldiers conducting a room clearing training event is called Hot Garbage. Appalling. And a live fire army edition of 1,000 Ways to Die in a Shoot House. And it's easy to see why. It is a complete tactical train wreck. If you guys ever seen the video that's already been posted around all social media, the helmet camera footage showing soldiers assigned to the 10th Mountain Division pointing their weapons at each other while going through a shoot house, and it's all over the place. However, because it's cool, it's set to the tone of DMX. DMX can play that stuff. But soldiers can be seen clearing 4 rooms in a 1-minute period in what is the most unsafe and scariest way manageable. Now, this is an article from Task and Purpose. Everyone's talking about Flag City, and one person on Enneagram said population of these guys watch, and then not sure precisely what's going on of what happened. So the door breaks open and both soldiers head into the room side by side, which is not necessarily the problem, but the soldier, one end points his rifle barrel at the soldier going in at the right side, and he's at one accidental trigger away from pulling, just blowing somebody's head off. The soldier on the right going in barges in and immediately fires at the target in the far right corner and completely ignores the potential threats in the corner, behind him. After plenty of rounds are expended, the soldiers get up themselves to clear the next room, and then 2 soldiers on the left wall and the 2 other soldiers on the right. Well, 2 more soldiers stand next to each other, kick the door open directly into a fatal funnel. If there was a machine gun there, of course, the 2 soldiers would have been dead on their own, not one. Not to mention the fact that the soldiers are behind each other, pointing their weapons directly at their backs. And these are live rounds. Again, this is a shoot house. Now, if any of y'all have been in a shoot house before, yeah, exactly that, Josiah. It was cringe. There's a catwalk. Well, I'm going to say right now, the division CSM, he spoke up. He saw the video, and yeah, he everyone was like running around and making all this noise, talking all this crap. So the CSM of 10th Mountain Division went online and provided a message and said, it is a 10th Mountain Division. It is our folks, and it really hurts to say that, unquote. This is not the standard, and this is not how we do business. It's not unacceptable. And he also vowed to fix it, Command Sergeant Major Mario Torinas. Well, there you go. So he says it. There. That's it. That's what he addressed. So everybody's going up and down. What are your comments on it? You were going to say something, Spank. I'm sorry.
Well, no, my comments. Everybody's seen the video, and if you've ever done that type of training at all, you can see what's wrong. Exactly. How you said it's cringy, but I like Sergeant Major's response to it. It's like, yes, it was us. Yes, we screwed up. Yes, we're going to fix it. Not like, oh, well, we're going to investigate or we're going to go look at this, look into it or whatever. I mean, it was clear as day what was wrong, and they own that. So I liked his response. And I think if more senior leaders had that same kind of candid response to, issues that are facing their unit or issues that have happened in their unit, we would be a lot better off.
Yeah, it's there was some massive retraining right now, I bet. Yeah, you could tell he was livid, Gary. You could totally tell. He was right in there, man. You could tell in his eyes that he was upset, so. And there's not too many CSMs that would have said that. Most like some of the videos that the WTF Nation posts. Right. Do you see some of the stuff that they post? That they're they're kind of like the main page posts some pretty crazy videos of, I don't know. Do you see the last one where there was an LMTV doing donuts in the snow and then it hit another LMTV? There was that video. So no unit. No, I'm gonna tell you what. No unit ever admits or volunteers themselves to say that was my organization. You know what I mean?
Yes. None of y'all's organizations is perfect. Everybody has somebody that screws up something in there, and it's like being able to own it and learn from it and retrain, so people know what to do and what exactly was wrong with that. Because, maybe there is somebody that that looked at that video and didn't see anything wrong, and they obviously need retraining too. So, own up to it, make mistakes.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. So is everybody happy now? And we talked about 10th Mountain. Now this, man, I've never seen so much vitriol about this stuff. Holy crap. Man, this is some angry stuff. Man, everyone's angry about that. Oh, snap, man.
I am trying to keep up with all y'all's comments today. It's just a lot. I might not get to them all.
Well, now
trying to read them all, y'all.
Yeah, now it's going to be like something like hey, don't be acting like 10th Mountain. When you go to the range, don't 10th Mountain in it or something like that.
Right, it's going to be a verb.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, hey, you know what? Hey, Vinny, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, Vinny, hang on. Let me round it up here.
Vinny has something personal.
Vinny has something personal. Okay, Vinny. They are investigating toxic leadership. Okay, that don't get me wrong. No one's saying it. As a matter of fact, the 3 Corps Commanding General, Lieutenant General White, had an announcement today on Fort Hood on just that. So it's not like it's not happening. Keep investigating. Keep happening. I think it's funny, and I think it's no. I don't think it's funny. You shouldn't think that it's funny that I think it's a joke. It's not. We are just saying that we have to move the show along because that's the way it works. It has to happen like that. So, yes, the Commanding General of Fort Hood has already put out a statement, and you can go ahead and look it up online, and that's what's happening. So there you go.
They all want to know about promotion. So yeah. I'm telling them, we have the entire G1 head.
We have the entire G1 in here asking about promotions. We even have Sergeant Major Clark. He's probably going, woof. Man, he's probably wondering, oh man, I'm listening to the audience right now.
If y'all would open the new promotion system as hard as you did that memo about not getting beards, y'all would all know something.
maybe if if you just said, hey, if there was like an email or a social media post that said, hey, check out, this might be about beards, everybody would look at it instead of not realizing that there's other information out there.
Right. If we're going to go over the whole entire new promotion system, what's up with the points? And
woo, man. Oh, gosh. Everyone's like going, let's start investigating. Let's investigate. Oh, investigate. Okay, look. So the Fort Hood commander, okay, look. As a matter of fact, today, the Fort Hood Independent Review Committee examination of the climate and current and Fort Hood, identified 9 findings of this and 70 recommendations and candidly highlighted areas that needed for improvement. So the CSM and the CG at Fort Hood appreciated the committees, whatever. Appreciate you coming in and yada, yada, yada. And roughly a quarter of the recommendations require higher level actions which have taken ownership by the committee's recommendations. So 3 Corps also had initiated action on 80% of those recommendations that reside at their level. You got to remember, General White was deployed for almost a year and a half when all this stuff was happening.
He was, but they're working on it. At least they're having some kind of transparency. Yes, nothing's fixed, but they are taking steps to fix it. So I applaud them on their transparency again, because we're all looking at like, okay, it's been a couple months. What's going on?
Well, not to mention the fact that they're nearly completion of the 15 of the 70 recommendations anyways. So it's not like nothing's happening. It's not like you keep saying yada, yada, yada. There's been entire chains of commands relieved. You know what I mean?
Oh, indeed, there has. No, there has been entire chain of command relieved over the, the Fort Hood report. I'm sure y'all all knew that. I'm looking for the letter that they posted out today. And, it takes me a little bit. Like, I don't find stuff as fast. Oh, okay. Anyway, there it is. Oh, look. And then it's okay. So it says teammates, families, and friends. The Fort Hood Independent Review Committee's examination of the climate and culture of the Fort Hood identified 9 findings and 70 recommendations. While roughly a quarter of their proposals require higher level action, we've taken full ownership of the committee's recommendations. 3/4 has initiated action on over 80% of their recommendations that reside at their level. So basically, is what they're saying is, out of all of the ones that they can handle at the core level, because there are some that, needs to be handled Army-wide, they've started work on 80% of them. And, in 3 months, that's not
what
I don't think they're too bad.
Right. Okay.
They're getting some done,
right.
Especially during these 3 months.
Right.
During a Panorama and or Panera Bread, or what is it called again? Oh yeah, pandemic.
Yeah. We got to be careful what we say because I want to get zucked.
Right. But like I said, so that's not, like I said, they're getting something done, and I think if they continue to put this out every month or every quarter, and then we'll see okay, they're nearing completion of 15 of the 70 recommendations. We should see that number go up next month or next quarter. So
well, we won't know until we get another update, and you have to let them happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, is that Terry?
It's not gonna get fixed overnight.
Is that Terry in the chats? I see you, Terry. My man, Terry.
Gosh, I haven't seen you in a while, Terry.
Man, Terry, how have you been? Oh my God, dude. What have you been up to? Man. Oh, hang on, we gotta wait for that. We gotta wait for the. We gotta wait for the. I see Terry. I see you in the chats. I see you, man. Oh man. Here, hang on for a sec. Let me fix something right quick. Pew, 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 pew. There we go. Fixed. I got it.
Okay. Well, you see the question. Well, how?
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all are harping on toxic leadership tonight, and that's cool. How will a lower enlisted soldier find help with toxic leadership without repercussions while remaining anonymous? Hey, we have an inbox.
Yeah.
Don't come whining.
Right.
If you come with specific examples, little proof.
Yeah, it just
someone made me do PT.
Yeah, exactly. It's just exactly. It's I don't know. It's kind of hard to see everyone's reactions in here about some of this stuff. With these new band of individuals coming in here, I just banned a few people right now just for what they're saying in the chats, and I'm not going to tolerate that crap. You can say whatever you want, and you can keep talking. Hey, that's cool. You want to talk, and you want to do this stuff, but when you're going after each other for asking for opinion and telling everybody to shut up or whatever, I'm just going to ban you. So there's been I've already banned 4 or 5 people already that won't stop talking and typing all caps. I'm not going to have that happen on the show, especially tonight. I mean, come on, man. Jesus. Anyways, what were you saying, Spanky? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I got that. I'm like, he's mad. Y'all tonight. He's got that ban button on, hot.
I'm serious, man. It's just come on. We got it. You're right, Gary. The CSM, he addressed it. Mad props. That's all you could say. You know what I mean? And no, not back at Bragg, Heath.
Oh, man.
Oh, God, it's hilarious. Oh, man.
It took us how many minutes? Oh, 37
it took 30 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
Throw back at Bragg.
To throw back at Bragg. Oh, man. Well, who's this one now? Who is this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, as you wish. See ya. Your wish is my command. Oh my God, man. There we go. Next. Who else wants to go? I could go all night. Oh man, gosh! Every time somebody dies, someone blame Fort Hood. No, look, guys, I don't mind the Discord going back and forth. I don't mind all that stuff, but when you guys are screaming at each other like that, it's just not good in the chat. It doesn't flow with the show, and especially when we're trying to, have a good event tonight and answer the question that you guys have been asking. If you've not submitted these questions before, then we would not have been able to we obviously are doing it for you. So some of the questions that you've already been dropping in here, we're already going to ask. That's already going to happen. So you don't have to sweat it. You don't have to worry about it. Some of the questions you're going to get are going to come in. You know what I mean? So don't worry about it. We got a lot of questions too. But yeah, gosh, man. Whew. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. I just want to say this. Our number one toxic leadership, we need to talk about that, is no longer in. So I don't think you have an issue with toxic leadership anymore.
You don't think so?
No. Well, I mean, I guess there could be toxic leadership in the civilian world, but you have a lot more options. Sorry, I am trying to keep up with all your comments.
I know, man. The comments are flying tonight, man. Woof.
They're flying.
They're flying in. Well, we appreciate the comments, but they are flying in tonight. Now, I think a toxic leadership is being addressed. I think toxic leadership is, of course, being handled. There's different levels that are already dealing with it, and I think what we need to do is just kind of like not over. I don't want to say over. Do we have too much bureaucracy on it? You know what I mean? Because right now, if you have several levels of bureaucracy and not let commanders do the commander thing and not let senior NCOs do the senior NCO thing, then I think the over bureaucracy, you're now going to end up having an additional. It's almost like having a center of excellence of a center of excellence of a center of excellence, and we don't want to go there. You know what I mean? So there is toxic leadership, but I think a lot of it is. It just needs to be identified, and I think now that that we're making it aware, I think senior leaders now know what to look for, and I think it's more incumbent onto the junior leaders to identify it as well. There are some habits I think that we need to break as in the way we lead. That would basically, I don't know, I was just telling somebody that, and we have to kind of keep up with the way the way we lead. I mean, every I think there's, I don't know, back in the day it was like, I don't know, 8 to 9, 10, generational events where people used to say, back in the old army or this new army, blah, 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 blah. Well, now the way soldiers are coming in nowadays, it's a 3 to 4 year, I'd say maybe 5 year generational change. Some of the things that you used to be able to say when you were an NCO now, or a soldier now, you can't say 5 years from now as a leader. You know what I mean? Because then people are going to be like, oh, well, you can't say this because now it's going to be considered, not, I wouldn't say offensive, but not normal to the decorum of, the profession of arms. I mean, that's the way I'm seeing it. I'm seeing things that you can't say, like you can't make specific jokes that you used to be able to do in the 80s. Everyone's talking about, let's go back to the 80s Army. Let's go back to this, and this. And like, well, back in the 80s Army, there's a lot of things you could not do, or people were not allowed to do, or people not let do, I guess you would say, be authorized to do, or be given the chance to do. So it's kind of like oh my God, the Black Boot Army stuff and all that. It's hard to discuss that. It's really hard. It really is. So, again, you can't describe it.
Well, like we do have the G1 stuff coming on, right? So there is a change.
As far as
Air
what?
Force's leave policy, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Did you hear? Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. So check this out. The Air Force now has like a bereavement policy, or they're coming up. So I guess what's happening is that the new senior chief master, I can't say that. I was going to say chief master chief. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Joanne Bass, told Task and Purpose that she's a firm believer in creating a bereavement leave policy. Think about that. That's like it's like leave to go for a funeral. Not like an emergency leave, just like allowing their airmen to attend funerals without charging leave.
And how much of that helps so many people, especially when you think about soldiers that are in during their first year and need to go on emergency leave for, a death in the family or something like that. Like, that just automatically puts them in the hole. They haven't even had a chance to earn any leave yet.
Well, what she's saying is that what she said to the what she quoted was saying was that it's something that we're trying to get after and work with our sister service senior enlisted leaders. So this might come to the Army. This might come to the Army.
That's leave is not a...
So it's free. So
it's a DoD-wide thing.
It's a DoD,
not an Air Force thing or Army thing.
Yeah. So in the interim, we're looking at options for our airmen to have the time needed to give their grieved loss of their family member through the non-chargeable means. It's almost like it's like convalescent leave.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like...
Or paternity leave.
Or exactly that.
Primary caregiver leave. That's
right.
What I meant to say.
Right. So right now at the moment, the Air Force does not have a specific bereavement leave policy for airmen who need to take time off and tend to loved ones who are sick or have passed away. Airmen can currently take emergency leave where they pull their 30 days of normal leave, and they can, or emergency leave of absence, which is a new option that was just announced last September. And the new option gives the airmen 14 consecutive days of 14 consecutive non-chargeable days to attend the death of family or a serious medical condition of immediate family member or an appropriate hardship without counting towards the airmen's total leave days. What is up with that?
That is a fabulous idea. You go, Chief Master Sergeant Bass, or not Bass, Bass.
It's Bass. Don't here we don't start a fight. Don't start it.
Sorry. I won't start that fight again. No, but it's a great idea, and hopefully she can get the other, senior, like Sergeant Major of the Army, Princeton, you listening? We want this too. Our soldiers need this, and I mean, I'm all for it. Like, also think about it, like, as the worst case scenario, you and your family already have leave plan and have pre-booked your tickets to Disney and everything else or something like that. But then you, like 3 weeks before that happens, someone in your immediate family passes away, and you would have to use all your leave to go on emergency leave, and then you wouldn't have been able to go on your vacation. I'm not saying everybody's going to want to go to vacation 3 weeks after a death in the family, but it's like, let them go.
It's almost like What is it? What is it with the? Anyway. Yeah, exactly. So the problem is, here's the thing without counting, of course, I mean, if you have, bereavement leave, I mean, does it count? I mean, I wonder how much it counts already. So right now the terms emergency leave and emergency leave of absence are too easily confused already. So emergency leave counts towards normal leave, no restrictions on how it can be granted, and then emergency leave of absence doesn't count to normal leave and it lasts up 14 days. It only granted once in an airman's career, though, and they're close to hitting their normal leave cap for immediate family members. So I kind of think that I think this is good. Just free. It's almost like going on convalescent leave when you have surgery. That's the way I think it should look at it like that, or maybe they are looking like that. Then there you go.
But I mean, that would just be too easy.
Well, I mean, would you stop that?
Like, somebody's going to look at it as like, oh, you're getting something for nothing. And I mean, I guess leave is an entitlement, and you do get paid if you don't use it. So I could see where the people are going to be coming from. Oh, well, they got 14 free days leave. They got 14 free days off. I didn't get 14 free days off. They got to put their hair in a ponytail, and I didn't get a beard. See where I'm going with this? It's like, it's like if somebody's going to get something out of it that is technically worth money, I see that being the only problem is like, well, if I don't have anybody die, I don't get my free 14 days of leave. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I promise you there are people that think like that.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying now. I can see oh man, did you just big sergeant? Did you just?
I might have. Let me tell you what, I big specialisted this once upon a time. This was years ago, and you remember the BOSS program.
Right.
Well, at a battalion level, me and the other BOSS rep were going to Disney World on a BOSS trip. She was in the same situation. We hadn't been in the Army very long. We didn't have hardly any leave days saved up. I hadn't taken any leave. She had. I can't remember why, but she had no leave days to go on this BOSS trip. So our battalion commander said she could take permissive TDY since she was, battalion boss rep. I'm like, hold up. So yeah, I big specialist did. I'm like, no, I'm not getting charge leave if she's getting charge leave, if she's not getting charge leave.
Right.
I'm the boss rep too for this battalion. So, and he signed off on his TDY too.
Right. No, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
But, yeah, so I didn't get charge leave to go to Disney World. I got to take permission for TDY. But no, I mean,
but
I would not be the type of person that would say that because someone had to go to a funeral. But to go to Disney World, you bet your ass I am.
Right. No, but I mean, again, I'm just gonna say this: is that it's we need to, the old way of doing stuff. You need to shut up, and that this is gonna happen. I mean, it's happening. It happens all the time. Someone will say, "This is not the new army," and blah 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 blah. Man, shut up! You would love to have if someone gave you free leave, you wouldn't care.
No.
You'd be like, wait, you're gonna give me?
I'd rather have my grandma back in 14 days.
Oh my God, I know exactly why. That's a good point. But what's gonna happen when the the unit says, "Here you go, man. You need to take, here you can take time off. Here's 14 days free bereavement leave. It's free. Like I said, you just take your bereavement leave, you log it in there, put it in the, change it in the in email po, and then there you go. You know what I mean? Then that's it. You're rocking and rolling. So, I mean, I don't think it's too far to, I don't know. It's not really a big stretch, you know what I mean? They could get it approved.
Yeah, like I said, I think the only problem, again, one more problem with this is something that would have to be changed on the DODI, whatever one that covers the leave, not just like AR 600, whichever one that covers leave. I can't remember any of the numbers right now, because it's like I said, leave is something that is like tangible and worth money. So it's not like, oh, we can just sign off on it like as a policy letter. There's probably something that's got to change law-wise.
Ooh, that's a good question, David. I don't know. Yep, the next hot post. Robert, the next hot post from Army WTF Moments. We need you to complete your DLC.
Oh gosh, I saw that post.
Oh man, that post. We're not going to do screenshot madness tonight, but that was a pretty. I don't know if you guys saw that post, but that was a pretty funny post. It was pretty funny. The battalion policy says you can't sign out on leave until you finish your DLC. And if you guys don't know the scenario, my DLC is like used to be SSD, and the guy goes, "They require me to complete a career progression course in order to retire." And his leader goes, "Right, Roger, you're taking eternal leave.
Go to Disney World leave."
Oh my God! See, you know what? But that's a good point. How is that going to happen when Big Sarge rolls in? Who's going to be the deciding factor? I mean, there's probably going to have, like, when we have soldiers go on emergency leave, right? I mean, they're going to get a Red Cross message.
Big Sarge thinks they have some say in your leave form. I mean, they can recommend anything, but they are not the stopping point.
Right.
Ever.
Big Sarge. Big Sarge will come in and you're like, how do you know that they died? Because I have a I guess got a Red Cross message. Well, how do you know it's still related to you? You know what I mean? No, there will be a leader in there. There'll be Big Sarge. I was just imitating him using Catman's voice, though. How do you know that they were related to you? Oh my God, I can just imagine the inbox traffic if we got something like that.
Right? Like, Big Sarge, you should know your soldiers and know who their immediate family members are. How about that?
Oh, exactly. Oh man, I think it's funny that already we already see people in the chats wargaming exactly what's going to happen. You're already going to have Big Sarge come in there and go, "Hey, you can't go on in bereavement leave." Well, why? How do you know that's your dad or your mom? Oh man, that's messed up.
Yeah, that's another point Anna brings up, or Anna, I'm not sure how you say her name. Working in a hospital and soldiers try to take leave and constantly get told no, and then get yelled at the end of the fiscal year. That is in every unit that is. That has the type of operations where they cannot take block leave. Medical units, signal units, the ones that support, garrison, any unit like that, like most combat units, they can shut everything down for 2 weeks, except for a CQ and a staff duty. But, when you have all the soldiers that work in personnel and the hospital is the best example because everybody has to go there. You can't just shut the hospital down for 2 weeks and let all the soldiers go on block leave. So yeah, it's like everybody is just like, well, I need to take leave. I got like 70 days. I need to take leave.
That's a good point too, because I don't understand.
And that's what you noticed in September is like there's no senior leaders around because they all got they had to go on leave.
But I noticed that too though, is that I was mostly in units that really didn't care about that. You know what I mean? I didn't really think that was I was a big deal. I mean, it was I was mostly in units that I never thought. It wasn't until I got to what unit was I in? I think I was in when I was in 1st Armored Division. That's when I heard the term block leave. Like you had to take block leave. I'm like, I'm gonna go take leave. Why? Because I'm gonna take leave. Why?
Right.
Because I get to take leave. Why do I have to? That's the thing. Why do I have to give you a reason to take leave? If I'm submitting a packet and why do you want to go on leave? Just let me submit it. Hey, so and so's going to go on leave and we're good to go. But when I got to 1st Armored Division, that was the block leave was block leave. So for me, it was really hard for me to kind of wrap my head around the fact that you had to wait for a specific time to take leave, and like Anna said in the chats, it ends up being that you start collecting, and then you have use or lose, and then next thing you know, you either have to turn in leave or burn leave, or you get to some position where I've seen people take leave, but they still work because they have to burn leave, and I think that's the wrong answer. It's just I just think that a bereavement leave like that would be pretty cool, because what if you're a Joe? That happens. Privates always, it seems like privates, when they show up to a unit from AIT, they always have something right off the bat. If it's not 48% interest on a car, it's already they're having deers because they probably got married to their high school sweethearts, or they were already married when they first came in if they're a little older, and they already they have things that they need to handle. And when they first join the military in their first year in or first 2 years in, they're not going to have leave to do it. And if there was an emergency or there was a death in the family and they had to take bereavement leave that would cut into their normal leave, I could see that, I could see that.
Like I said, you're right. They always have issues. And sometimes these issues may not be on the emergency level. May not be on the emergency leave level.
Right.
Like, for instance, aunt or an uncle, someone that, your best friend, like I said, these are high school kids that just got, into the Army. Like, I can't imagine how traumatizing that would be.
Yeah, I don't that's a good question, because at what level would it be? What would be the, like, it's almost like you were saying about the, when you were working I remember you were telling me some of your S1 stories was the local parentis stuff.
Right. And there was definitely, when we were overseas, we asked everybody in processing, do you have local parentis?
Right.
You need that memo. You do the memo now beforehand. So
right.
We always had those on file. That was part of in processing.
Right. If you guys don't know what that means, that's the local parentis is somebody that has raised you from the day, like a parent or grandparent or uncle or something like that, and they passed away. Normally would not be given emergency leave, whatever. But I've never heard. That's one thing I've never heard recently. Maybe few that I've seen leaders not grant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And like I said, overseas, it's a bigger deal because that has to do with funding as well. So, depending on what category you're going to fly out on and how much, if the Army's paying for it, depending on where you are, or if you're a soldier that is home of record is somewhere overseas.
Right.
That makes a huge difference then too.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. I when I was retiring and you were because you just retired before me, and you were like, make sure you take this, make sure you do that. You were giving me like my S1 checklist.
Right.
You were like,
I was like, I was making sure you were going to be taken care of.
You're like, make sure you got this leave in, make sure you got this paperwork in, make sure you have this in, make sure. And how many days do you have? Then I gave you all my days. You're like, okay, you should have this, and by the time you calculate it, you should only have like maybe a day and a half to sell. And sure as anything else, you did. You were correct. I only had like a day and a half to sell when I retired. So it was kind of cool to be on terminal leave for I don't know, almost 5 months. It seemed like so,
Right.
I had so much.
Yeah, that from SGT'S.
Yep, exactly. So, which was great. You know what I mean? That helped me out. So it's really the whole leave thing's a trick in itself. So I'm looking forward to. Let's see. Do we have any questions for that too? Do we have Sergeant Major? I think Sergeant Major Clark is gonna be able to answer some of the leave stuff too, because everyone's like flying off the handle. Everyone was flying off the handle earlier in the chat, so
Right.
Notice everybody's been quiet. So, but real quick, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we'll be right back. So everyone, stand by and get some shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
sirens are going off. Another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. A 100 boys headed to war in this world unknown. these letters from home. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Well, most of us, we made it home, but we never came back. When we close our eyes at night, we hear a rocket attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. We ain't far from Kandahar.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back. Man, part 2 of Sergeant's Time. And here with my guests, Lieutenant General Gary Brito, and Sergeant Major Clark, and Miss Carol Burton. They are a representative of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel. They are the Army G1, all three of them. So I just want to say, guys, thank you for coming and hanging out. Sir, I was going to ask you a quick question. I'm sorry, the fans wanted to know, and I'm gonna ask you one real quick. We had a previous guest that's been kind of like chasing behind you. So Major General Donahoe has followed you into 3 jobs now in your career, Scorpion, Bronco, and now the MCO. But you followed him onto the WTF Nation radio realm a year and a half. Does that make you sad a little bit?
Quite tearful right now. He's a great friend, and glad to be associated with him tonight.
I'm not saying he had something to do with this, but I just kind of like, hey, when was the last time? I was asking him some questions about when was the last time.
I'll be seeing him in about a week, and I'll be sure to pay him back.
So real quick, sir, tell us about yourself.
Well, career officer, obviously. Although I'm the Army G1, I grew up as an infantry officer my entire career. It was my first Pentagon assignment. But I tell you, something you said in the very beginning that I really resonate with, and that, as you mentioned, all 3 of our names, that we represent the G1. And I tell you why that means a lot to me. We are a team for everything that we're doing for the total Army, National Guard, active duty, and reserve alike. But a little bit about myself. I've been in about 33 years now. Married to my wife also, just 33 years. She's been with me since I was a second lieutenant. And as with many in the Army, have served both overseas in the United States, have had some opportunities to go to Afghanistan and Iraq as well. And I'm still serving because I love what I do and I love who I do it for. And in being in the Army G1 with a great team of military and civilians, every day we get to do what is right for the people and the Army. And I'm not just saying that as a bumper sticker. I'm serious about it. And with the right people who are happy, that feel valued and respected and part of a cohesive team, those young men and women that volunteer to join, and their parents, America, that supports them in joining, will make it worthwhile putting on the boots every day and coming to work. And quite frankly, they are the engine that make this great Army of ours run. I could talk all night, but I'd like to share some stage time.
Okay, well, Sergeant Major Mark Clark, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Sergeant Major Mark Clark, named after the General of the 5th Army. No, actually, I'm named after my father, Mark Clark. But I've been in the Army for 27 years. I've been a human resource professional the entire time of my 27 years. And I've always wanted the opportunity to have a seat at the table to kind of help shape and influence policy for the Army. So since I've been in this position since about October, we've really, with the work of the team, been able to really pay it forward and allow for soldiers' voices to be heard and some of the changes that they wish to have happen. A little bit about myself also, I'm married to a soldier. She's also a sergeant major. Between the both of us, we have a very large family, 6 children. And, we really enjoy what we're doing, taking care of soldiers and serving the Army and the military. So I really look forward to the questions this evening and helping educate the field on the different things that we're doing.
Oh, wow, that is a pretty big family, and you have a spouse that's a sergeant major as well. So is there a lot of sergeant majoring going on? Is there duty rosters up and stuff like that, or is that?
She runs the duty roster for the house, and when I try to disagree, she tells me at ease.
So she's got data rank. Miss Carol Burton, you're coming on board as the civilian representative, senior civilian representative for the G1, correct?
Correct.
I just want to make sure I have my homework done.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself as well?
Sure. So I'm the director of the Army Civilian Human Resource Agency, or CHARA. And essentially what I do is I provide the operational support to Army civilians from hire to retire. I'm a career civil servant. I've been working for the Army for about 37 years. And I'm also a military spouse, although I have not been a military spouse for the entire 37 years, but pretty darn close.
Wow.
Yeah, so as my husband and I moved around to support his career, then we also figured out a way to balance my career as well. But what's different today than from when I was building my career is we have the Army People Strategy with a deliberate focus on people, both military and civilian. And I'm hoping that tonight I'll get a little bit of an opportunity to talk about the civilian implementation plan that's part of that Army People strategy and how we're focusing on acquiring and retaining talent.
Well, Carol, you could go ahead and go into that, because that was going to be one of my questions. But what is the Army People strategy? I mean, are you going to? I don't want to make sure you're not stepping on anybody's toes, but can you give us a description of the Army People strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with just giving you a little bit of a timeline. So in October of 2019 is when the Secretary of the Army and the Chief of Staff signed the Army People strategy. And it was a more deliberate approach to manage the talents, not only of the soldiers, but of the civilians as well. So as a part of that Army People strategy, we have a civilian implementation plan. That's really just about workforce transformation, about a 21st century talent management process. And we have several lines of effort. They include acquire, develop, employ, and retain. And we have a particular focus on retaining the talents of the military spouses because the Army needs their talents. So we're getting ready for PCS season. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the military spouse initiatives because they're important. So the first one is about licensing reimbursement. So many of our very talented military spouses have state-specific licensing requirements. So now, as part of the Army People strategy, when they move from one location to the next, they can submit a voucher for reimbursement for any kind of examination or registration fees. Another initiative is a reciprocity with background checks for non-appropriated fund employees. So if you're moving, say, for example, from Fort Carson to Fort Riley, you need a background check, you're employed in a NAF position, you don't have to start over. There's a reciprocity between those installations. Now, this next initiative is really exciting because it was initiated by military spouses, actually a military spouse that I met when I was TDY to Korea. And we have a pilot program that DoD is allowing us to do, that military spouses in Korea, in some locations in Germany, can apply their military spouse preference prior to arrival at the new location. So what was happening, particularly in Korea, the military spouses would arrive, then they would get their military spouse preference, and then it would take forever to get employment. So now they can start that process earlier. And what's really cool about that initiative is we're actually changing a DoD policy. Now, there was a lot of work involved. We had to get specific cases. We had to find information about how families were impacted by not being able to apply their preference. And I'll be darned, but it worked. So we have an 18-month pilot, and we're hoping that will make it permanent. And then finally, and this is also just brand new, we have a program called the Department of Army Voluntary Reassignment Program, or DAVRAP. We're going to launch in the third quarter of fiscal year 21, and it's a tool that will allow for non-competitive placement of spouses and other civilians as they move from location to location. So rather than going through this rather bureaucratic, competitive process, the civilians can register in this automated tool and get non-competitive appointment eligibility at their new duty location. So that's just a couple of the military spouse initiatives that are linked to the civilian implementation plan that all started with the Army People strategy. So it's a really great time to be part of the Army, an Army civilian, and of course the G1.
Well, I was about to say those initiatives were also feedback from the force, really. So that kind of helped as well.
Yeah. So believe it or not, there's actually two-way communication. I mean, we're hearing what people are asking for, and we're able to implement some of their ideas.
That's awesome. I know for a fact it also helps families overseas when it comes to. Are you working with local governments as well? Like, for instance, for Germany, are you working for any of like the local German governments for any of the type of, or is it just not transferable when it comes to some of those certifications?
Yes. So for the certifications, the reciprocity, Right now, we're just using it for a non-appropriated fund, but it does apply OCONUS. But I do understand your question. It's about our spouses who might be working on the local economy that might have some certification requirements. And we're still working through that. It's a little bit more difficult because of our host nation agreements.
Right.
But it is on our radar that it needs to be approached and addressed.
Okay. Oh, awesome. All right. Well, I guess we can, all right. Well, there you go. That was one of the first questions we had. And this could be for anybody here. Does the Army have a career intermission program?
I'll answer that.
Go for it, sir.
It's something within and very much tied to the superb comments that Carol mentioned as well. If you were to take a lot of her comments and giving choices and options and innovative thought and management to the civilians, broadly the same for the soldiers of all ranks, enlisted, warrant officers, and officers as well. So we are through our 21st century talent management process, which has been well underway for about 18 months now, and well embedded with the 21st century, the Army People Strategy. We're in the process, as we speak, of developing and examining a career intermission program. And we looked at ones that have been successful with some of the other services. And what it would do, once implemented, and we'll run a pilot soon, is it gives opportunities for married couples programs, so possibly to look at that as an opportunity. It could be an intermission program that facilitates a family issue that they need to work through. And one, just allows us to continue to compete for the talent and give some level of family satisfaction or individual satisfaction to the soldiers that decide to join. So as a what I'll call a fully operational program at this point, no. But amongst all the initiatives that we're looking at with the 21st century, our 21st century talent management program, very much forward focus. That's something that our soldiers should be able to look for soon. And we'll pilot with a small cohort and grow it further from there.
Roger, sir. Now, some of the documents that you guys let me do for some read aheads. Can you give us a little bit of what is the Army talent alignment process? Can you tell us a little bit how that works?
I can, and so that I don't speak for the 1 hour, I'll try to do it in just a few moments.
Okay.
but essentially, to bluff it, soldiers and officers, and soldiers, officers, and warrant officers, and senior non-commissioned officers that are in the Army or join the Army, they have options. You know, there's things they can stay in or get out, and we want to keep the very, very, very best talent. So we've developed some programs, one, to assess our soldiers and officers and leaders as well, to align them with their very best talents and potential, and taking in key skills and attributes in something that has not happened in several years, to a large degree, the preferences of the soldier or the officer. And they have an opportunity, looking at the 21st century management systems we have now, to one, share all those things they have, key skills and attributes and behaviors. We'll know some of that just based off the official record. But what we may not know is, as an example, an infantry soldier or an artillery soldier who has a hobby of coding or software design or something like that on their free time, and they're very good at it. So when they share that with us, aligning this talent management alignment program that allow us to take all those attributes and find the best job for that soldier of any rank and use his or her talent to the full potential, reward it, keep them in, retain them, and offer overall satisfaction for that soldier, whether they want to stay in for 2 years, and of course you want to stay in for a career, but to 20 years. But that's a way of aligning all of those attributes, their skills, their attributes, behaviors, and preferences to the best assignment to compete for that talent. And at the end of the day, do what's best for the Army and best for the individual. That's broadly speaking.
Right.
Tied to that, sir, if I may, we have some assessment programs, both for our officers and NCOs, to ensure that they are the best leader when they're standing in front of a formation of soldiers that deserve their best leadership. And to bring it up, I mentioned in the beginning, we owe that.
Yes,
to the
sir.
soldiers that deserve the Army. There's over 130,000 soldiers every year, and about 5,000 officers every year that join. So we always have to be fresh and innovative and give those soldiers the very best leadership they deserve.
You know, you bring about putting soldiers and putting leaders in front of formations. Is that pretty much what that falls into and lines up with the command assessment programs as well, sir?
But most definitely, and that's not only for the officers as well. And I don't want to give some time to my battle buddy, Sergeant Major Clark, but we do for the same for the sergeant majors before they go into command sergeant major position. Now, essentially, when it assesses their leadership attributes, and more importantly, if someone should have some tendencies for counterproductive leadership, that's identified as well. So it's really fine-tuning the best leader and selecting the best leader through a variety of things, not just physical, some cognitive skills, communication skills, behavioral assessment, and it really fine-tunes the best leader to put in front of those soldiers. Again, they deserve that. At the battalion commander level, we've gone through 2 of those cycles. At the colonel, we call the brigade command level, we've gone through 1, and 1 for the sergeant majors. And I'll pass the ball to my battle buddy, Sergeant Major Clark. He can talk to what we've done for sergeant majors and first sergeants.
Right. I was gonna go right to Sergeant Major Clark and ask. So does this also include sergeants major and first sergeants as well for talent alignment as well?
Yeah. So for the assessments, and last October, November timeframe, we conducted a pilot for the sergeant majors where we looked at sergeant majors and assessed their ability to serve as good command sergeant majors. As we've looked at our evaluation board process, it used to be known as a promotion board process, we've realized that there's some additional data points that can be gained through the assessment process in order to determine, whether an individual is fit to stand in front of a formation and actually shape that culture the way that we want it to be for the Army. So we're going to execute that again this year, and we're going to start at the brigade level command sergeant majors to assess them for their ability to serve in those brigade CSM positions. But we also started a pilot for first sergeant assessments as well. And this is executed at the division or brigade level. And its intention is to basically identify the performance of individual master sergeants to see if they're ready and fit to serve in the positions of first sergeant, and similar to the sergeant major assessment, an ability to look at key data points and not only assess whether they can be a first sergeant, but what unit would they best be a first sergeant to serve in.
Now, does that mean for the sergeant major positions, say there was somebody who was really that would have the attributes that were probably a pretty good, say an aviation sergeant major or an infantry sergeant major? Do you kind of look at, is it an all Army? I remember back when I was in, I don't want to sound like that kind of guy, but there was a considered all Army for competitive and nominated positions. Did that ever come to fruition?
So for the nominative positions, they aren't MOS based. We're all 00 Zulus once you become a nominative sergeant major. So if you possess the knowledge, skill, and behaviors or attributes in order to serve in a specific position, then you can compete for that position. For the brigade and below sergeant major positions, those are based on either your MOS, or if it's a MOS and material position, it can be open to any MOS to be able to perform and compete for those positions.
Gotcha. And what are you looking for those assessments specifically? Can you just give us an example of some of the brackets that they're being looked at?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the biggest things is, fair and equal treatment of soldiers. I mean, obviously you have to be aware and live in the people first mantra and understanding the Army people strategy. Someone who understands the ability to accomplish the mission while taking care of the soldiers. We really want our leaders to be able to shape the culture to understand that people first equals readiness, and not that you have to choose between the two. So this is a critical part of getting our Army where we need to be to make sure the leaders that we're putting in place are carrying forth the Army's message, not their own agenda, and also possess the skills, the knowledge, and the attributes to actually serve in those positions. Some may be more technically proficient, some may be more leadership focused, and we want to make sure that you have the skills to serve in either one of those positions to execute those.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there? I mean, are they looking more into fitness? Because I know right now the hot topic right now is the ACFT, and so there was a question about reviewing the height and weight standards. Can you give us a little sneak peek or a little bit of if that's even being discussed? The reviewing the height weight standards, the Army Body Fat Program.
Sure, absolutely. So within the Army G1, we have a directorate called the Army Resiliency Directorate, and they are the proponent for AR 600-9. So what I can tell you now is they are currently collaborating with the Army Public Health Center, the Army Research Institute, academia, and the industry in the field of research on anatomy and physiology, basically determine the way ahead regarding the most effective ways to assess a soldier's body composition. And this is not just about the height and weight standards, but they're also looking at ways on how to analyze the mental aspects, injury trends, gender, aging, postpartum challenges that soldiers may experience as they try to maintain their compliance with the Army standards. And so that's still ongoing. So we're not at a point where there's a decision or where there's a metric that has shown that this is the way that the Army is going to go, but we are definitely looking into that because we've heard the concerns of soldiers about the current height and weight standards. So, of course, we're looking at that to see how we can evolve that process to find a better way to do it. But one thing I will also caveat to clear up some confusion about height and weight standards. I believe there was some confusion in the field about whether or not height and weights are still being conducted during COVID-19. And the answer is yes. The height and weight standards are still in effect. Commands are still responsible to weigh their soldiers in twice a year. What was suspended was the frequency or the execution of it in conjunction with the APFT or the ACFT. But the height and weight standards are currently still in effect. And so I want to make sure soldiers are aware and prepared in the event that they are asked to come in and do that.
Well, actually, when your shop threw out the message, we threw that message out. We as soon as we got it in our hands, we were ranting and going back and forth about it too. So because we just wanted to make sure, because everyone was telling us the same thing, and the guidance was not. I can totally tell that the guidance was not being put out to the force. I will say that is it. Do you see anything on the horizon for it getting changed? Is there anything close, or is it still staffing right now as far as the Army body fat and height weight stuff?
So it hasn't even actually reached staffing yet. It is still in the study of the different options that are out there.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a lot better than, because at least we have something. Because I know the audience was hitting me on that. Well, I'll be honest with you, Carol. Let me ask you this. What does talent management look like for Army civilians?
Well, actually, it looks pretty similar to the talent management process. Soldiers, the focus is on hiring the right people, them in the right roles, and making sure that we understand what the requirements might be to make sure we have the talent that will fit those requirements. And we have in the civilian sector what we call career programs, and career programs are functional. So, for example, logistics is a career program, and prior to the Army People Strategy, we had 32 different career programs. So, a separate career program for civilian human resources, military human resources, EEO, logistics, supply, and now as part of the Army People Strategy, we have 12 broader career fields. So military and civilian personnel, EEO, resource management are all lumped together. And as part of the new program, we have a more enterprise approach to talent management for civilians. One thing that we did is the career programs now under one organization called the Army Civilian Activity, or ACMA. And what ACMA is working on is having a clear career path for each career field. So an Army civilian, when they enter the force, they'll know exactly what they need to get promoted at each step in their career. So everybody will have an opportunity based on their talents and their desires to progress in the Army, and we'll have a very deliberate and organized way to do that. So it's like I said, it's an exciting time to be an Army civilian. We're doing some things that we've never done before.
I know a lot of us. I know I've worked with DA civilians myself when I was in. I know Spanky has, and there was always the issue of the timeline for the decreasing the time to hire. So what's the Army doing to decrease the time to hire to get under a more of a manageable timeline for civilians?
I started laughing because I work on that every single day of my life.
Okay.
That's my job.
Well, the first thing when someone said Carol's coming on there, I'm like, yeah. Oh, well, here, ask. Let me throw in a question. I'm like,
thank you to whoever said that.
I'm like, okay, cool.
So I'm actually glad you asked that question because I have a lot of good news. So the time to hire is going down. And at one point, the time to hire was in the upwards of maybe 120 days. And just recently, just a report that I pulled a few days ago, we're down to 80 days from start to finish. And we've done several things to try to get there. So I'll give you a couple examples. We now have more direct hire authorities. So for certain positions where we have critical talent, usually in the STEM occupations, we can hire directly. That's why it's called a direct hire authority.
Right.
With competition. So we were going out to job fairs, to other locations, and finding that talent that we can acquire. That has reduced our processing time. In some situations, we've been able to onboard individuals pending their pre-employment physical, so we don't have to wait for that lengthy process. We also are hiring more people with security clearances, looking at the number of clearances that we have, and perhaps we, in certain situations, lower the clearance levels. So we can onboard faster that way as well. So those are just some of the initiatives that we've implemented to reduce time to hire, and we have made great progress. And we continue to do that as I work on it every single day of my life.
I'll make sure I'll send that person who asked that question. She answered it. You better get on there and look at it. Well, go ahead, sir.
So, sir, if I may add, not so much for our DA civilians, and Carol and the team do a superb job with that, but many of our military spouses that move from state to state, the challenges they once experienced in transferring jobs, such as a school teacher and other things, has gotten much better as well. Working with the Department of Defense, the other services, and often just working with some of the states where a teaching license in one state can carry over to another. So we'll continue to make great progress with that to accommodate the spouses that move so often with their soldiers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the big one too, because especially if they're already in the system, I guess that'd be kind of helpful. But I'm sure for the initial hire, I guess that's good news that the time is going down though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of links back to that reciprocity that I talked about with the NAP employment, and then that DAV-RAP, that non-competitive appointment tool that I talked about that we're going to implement in the third quarter of fiscal year 21. It helps us speed up the process a little bit, especially for those military spouses who are moving.
I would say that it's leaps and bounds because it doesn't feel like the spouses are being left behind on this. Because I know some of my friends that they have spouses that are either lawyers or doctors or, like you said, teachers, and it's kind of like unfair to them. This is something that also came in, is that how we overcome the problem, which is obviously the most decision in the career of a GS is the decision to hire, but once it's done, they're literally almost hard. I don't want to say to get rid of, but to either terminate, suspend, or whatever. Is there something to ease on the military or DA civilian supervisors to terminate GS employees that are not kind of up to par, or just maybe need to move on?
Yeah. So I'll address the civilian question. There is a very formal and deliberate process to address employees that might not be performing, whether they have a conduct or a performance issue. And it does depend on where they are in their career. So earlier in their career during a probationary period is when we encourage managers to make that assessment about whether they have those skills, knowledges, and abilities to perform successfully. And if there's any problems, then our goal is to attempt to resolve that issue during the probationary period. But if something happens later in their career, there is a process. But employees do have some rights.
Of course,
and
of course.
When we do take disciplinary action, they have an opportunity to respond, and they do have an opportunity to improve. So I am aware I've worked certain personnel actions where I know federal civilians have been removed, but I also have worked several cases where, when given the opportunity to improve, the Army civilians have done so. So the process does work.
Right. I would just go ahead, sir.
No, I was going to say Carol is spot on. And for those who supervise, obviously military and civilians, we have some education opportunities. They could be online classes or a 3-day class that you may sit in. I've been to it twice, as a matter of fact, where you learn exactly those processes that Carol just talked to. And quite frankly, it's just right and fair for the employee. And, if you have bad performance, just like you would for a uniformed soldier, you do counseling and you give an opportunity for retraining if necessary. But as Carol mentioned, there's rules, laws, and policies that we all adhere to. And if you're in that supervisor role, you get the training to understand what they are. And if you have to employ them, employ them.
Right. No, that's definitely. As soon as you said that, sir, you're right. There is a you just don't remove somebody right off the bat when they're in the uniform.
In the civilian sector, we call it progressive discipline.
Progressive.
Okay. I like that term.
Yeah, progressive discipline. You sound like somebody I know. And there's another question, Carol. You know what? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a coincidental, a little bit crazy timing. And there's a question in the inbox. Are you Morgan?
No, I'm not.
You're not Morgan. You're not. Okay. Do you know who Morgan is? I mean,
no?
Okay.
I don't.
Because
do you?
Well, I'm just saying that the way you're, I don't know, the way you're answering, the way you're speaking, and it just sounds like something Morgan would say when she's dropping some stuff on Twitter. And I'm thinking that sounds very Morganish. That's.
So is Morgan somebody who sends you messages when you're on air?
No. Morgan is our J1.
Oh, okay.
And so we're kind of like wondering, it's just one of those games of who's not the anonymous one, but we were just curious. So someone just got something to say, hey, is Morgan is that Morgan? Because the way you're answering the questions is the way she engages audiences on Twitter. So everyone's like, is that Morgan?
I'm glad we're consistent.
See, you're probably related. I think you two are twins or something. You have to. I don't know. I think you're holding out. So with that, then some of the management processes then for civilians have to be pretty much the same, right? As far as the counseling portion goes, right, sir?
Well, it should be. Yes, one is proper, and it's an exchange. It's a communications. So one, be very upfront with what's expected in one's duty description. No different than you would from military to military.
Right.
Here's the objectives that are expected, and then also ask the employee, what are your goals and to meet the desired end state, or to meet the climate, the duty description of which you're signed up for. I would say no different than it is for one in uniform. It's communication, dignity, and respect, and be human about it, and also take the time. Really tied to our people strategy in many ways, but I would just say a responsibility for any supervisor to train and develop. Everybody's going to make some mistake, and it's the job of the leader to help train and develop, to make a better person, because each one of us on this radio one day are going to probably retire one day. and would hopefully through mentorship, coaching, and development, somebody behind us is going to replace it.
Right.
So it's full circle.
Right, exactly. No, I hear you. All right, Sergeant Major, you're too quiet back there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get you with this one. What is the new Army program for using corporal rank?
All right. So for clarity, we don't have a program in place that uses corporal rank. So that I guess everybody understands, there are several initiatives that we are currently working on to improve the non-commissioned officer corps. And I believe it was posted to your site earlier this month, and in reference to a Corporal Initiative, which was one of the concepts that was being considered. Unfortunately, that's not approved. It's not in place, and so it's being considered with other initiatives that are being studied to improve our NCO corps, specifically at the company level within the squad and the team. But the goal of that is to focus on how do we better develop our E4 to sergeant transition. And so hopefully if that, comes to fruition in the future, obviously we'll be able to go a little more in detail on it. But, for now, it's still not approved and we don't have a confirmed go ahead and execute yet.
This is still going to be MOS non-specific, right? Immaterial?
That's correct.
And somebody said no pay though. It's going to be the same pay grade.
Well, if you think about it, just in general, you have a lot of soldiers who are considered E4 promotable. They've been to the board, and they're waiting to either go to school or they're waiting to get promoted to sergeant. But oftentimes they're already filling a role of a non-commissioned officer. So just imagine if those individuals were actually wearing corporal rank, they are then at that point a non-commissioned officer and can discharge the duties of being a non-commissioned officer. And under that concept, those individuals would actually, that they're graduates of the school, so they're already been trained to be a sergeant. So it's beneficial, and it's a visible understanding between the soldier and the leader of this individual's ability to actually execute the job of a team leader or a squad leader.
So the thing with points, promotion points, can you give us the cycle of promotion points? Are promotion points still happening? Are we still, there's a lot of questions everybody's asking us about points coming down. Are points going to come down? Can you give us just an overview about the promotion points for soldiers, specialists, and below?
Yes, so I can tell you the current process is on average between the 22nd and 25th of the month, depending on the month and different things that are happening that month. That's the normal time frame that those points will be released. And that is for your sergeant and staff sergeant promotions. As we transition around May, June timeframe, that cutoff score is going to change to be announced on the 16th of the month. This is a part of the evaluation board process and the change associated with it. So on the 1st of every month, they'll pull in, identify all soldiers who are eligible to be promoted. And then by the 16th of the month, they will announce the by names to give soldiers more time to plan out their promotions, give units more time to actually help soldiers, get their orders in hand to be able to execute that as part of the evaluation board process. So that will continue on for the semi-centralized promotions, which applies to sergeants and staff sergeants. Where it gets tricky is where you start going into the senior NCOs under the new evaluation process.
Yeah. Now the new evaluation process, can you go a little bit of and that was tricky. Right when I got out is when they started using that. So can you get a little bit what that process is?
Absolutely. Let me try to summarize this the best way I can. I normally give like a 2-hour brief on this when I travel around. So in short, the evaluation board process replaced the promotion board process, and it was our way of evolving how we develop, employ, and retain our non-commissioned officers. So first and foremost, as it pertains to promotions, in the past, we used to project 2 years out for E7 and E8 promotions and 3 years out for Sergeant Major promotions. But we as an Army have emergent requirements that happen now. And we needed a system that was able to respond to those emergent requirements. So case in point, if the Army decided to and we need non-commissioned officers of a certain MOS to fill those requirements, under the evaluation board process, we can now just go down to OML to the next qualified individual and start promoting to those requirements. Under the old promotion process, we would have to wait 2 years to grow that NCO in order to be able to fill that requirement. So it gives us more flexibility to respond to the Army's requirements, and it actually offers more promotion opportunities for soldiers. Because under the old one, once we released the list, that was it. It was final until the next board. If someone went to OCS or failed to remain qualified or retired or was deceased, those were promotions that were just lost and went unfilled. If someone does that now, we just go to the next person on the list and we're able to keep the promotions going to keep the Army at 100% at each skill and grade. But what we also found with the evaluation boards was that we could do more with our board process than just identify who to promote. So we also use it to identify who goes to school, to the PME, their professional military education, what type of assignments that they need to be managed through. So that's a coordination between the enlisted manning cycle at HRC and the use of DAPAM 600-25, which is the NCO professional development guide, which kind of tells you by grade and MOS what type of jobs and how you should be performing, because that is also what board members use to vote your records on the board. And then the fourth part, and I think is the most important, it also helps us to identify who to retain and who would be better doing something else outside of the Army. So in a nutshell, those are the big four efforts that the evaluation board brings up. And it's the perfect process that catapults us into the use of IPSA, because IPSA combined with the evaluation board process will allow us to better talent management of our non-commissioned officers.
Now, IPSA, that's coming online too, right? I mean, that's
absolutely. December this year of 21, IPSA release 3 for the active component and the reserves goes live.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, as Sergeant Major said, we rolled it out for the National Guard a year ago in our Release 2. 90 days on the road to going live with what's called Release 3 December this year. And it is going to streamline an old industrial age database we had to manage all of our processes into one. And we'll get to the point where there'll be phone apps that can do this as well. So I would say it's your iPhone 12 that just keeps on growing and getting better. Rely on your flip phone. And extend it to our civilians over time also. But what was once a big idea, truly reality. And soldiers are going to love it. Supervisors and units will love it as well. And it streamlines over 150 processes down to more than half of that.
Now, does that implementation? I know you said you were talking about moving into the civilian, the DA civilian as well. Is it more onus on the soldier? Because I remember when I was at AUSA and I saw the demonstration. Is it really that one-on-one, point-to-point with a soldier?
It will be over. We mentioned Release 3 this year. We'll have a Release 4 in the next calendar year and planning for Release 5. The hardest part is really on the institutions now, like the Human Resources Command and those S1s that are across the world, to ensure that the data is correct in the current systems, and then they'll be pulled into those databases that manage the IPSA. So data correctness, the three buzzwords, or six if you want to call it that way, for this year, to ensure that we can roll into that Release 3. Like pulling up, ensuring your SGLI form is correct.
Right.
And that will be pulled over. And I don't know how much of this will extend to our civilians over time. I know in future designs we're looking to that, but right now, this year, focus on the active, and we did the Compo 2 in the previous release.
Now, with that, I think does that, Carol? Maybe you can give. I know working with DA civilians, and I've served with DA civilians, and I've even I've had a senior civilian be my supervisor. Do DA civilians PCS too? Do they? I mean, is it like they're in an assignment for a little bit and then they can go to another duty station? How does that work?
They do. So there's a couple different ways that Army civilians move. Some of us are on what we call mobility agreements. And when we accept a position, we sign a document that says we agree to move based on the needs of the Army. There are other occupations that require mobility agreements as well. But generally, if an Army civilian applies for a position, the vacancy announcement will identify whether PCS costs are reimbursable. And in the Army, generally, I'd say GS-11 and above, maybe GS-12, generally the Army will pay PCS costs for Army civilians to move.
So it's just like a normal, standard. It'd be just like anything else. It'd be like a normal soldier's PCSing. They do the same processes and all.
Absolutely. They go to, now it's online. You fill out a request for housing and inventory your household goods, and somebody comes and picks them up and ships them for you. It's a similar process. Gotcha. And the same. Okay, so there's no issues. Now, are they given? Is it like, because I have somebody asked me about if they wanted to become a DA civilian. How does the leave work for a DA civilian? So civilians accrue leave. It starts off with 4 hours of annual leave, a pay period, which is every 2 weeks, and 4 hours of sick leave. And then based on years of service, the annual earning increases. So I'm going to try and do this from memory. So it's 4 years, 4 hours for the, I don't know what it is by memory. We'll get you the information.
No problem. So basically, it's just like the military. Somebody in uniform, specific amount of time, you accrue leave time.
Yep, you do. Absolutely. And it increases up to 15 years of service. After 15 years of service, you don't increase your pay period accrual. Right. Okay. Sir, I have a question about the SARB. Does that there was a question about why was
Electoral Assault Review Board, right?
Yeah, correct, sir.
Yes.
Is why they changed the SARB so that it forces senior commanders to clear the room of subordinate commanders while discussing cases. Can you give us?
Well, I would say I was privileged to have had 4 years straight of senior commander duty. So to say that subordinate commanders are kicked out of the room during the SARB would not be a true statement. Quite frankly, it's a forum where commanders can have dialogue along with the proper representation from legal, CID, and other leaders and agencies that may be necessary to discuss assault, or sexual assault, sexual harassment cases, in this case, to review those cases. So it's a dialogue. Now, there are some protections for the victims and the accusers, and they must be very careful not to talk about anything that would suggest a retribution or retaliation, and quite frankly, it shouldn't be. So it's a dialogue with the commander, a senior commander to a subordinate commander to review the respective case. And what you may address, and I'll just give some anonymous anonymous examples without identifying anybody, of course.
Of course.
But you may discuss a victim just by the rank XX, and the same with the accused. Discuss the counseling and the rehab that may be going on, or get an update on the status of an investigation. And without that level of dialogue, which we should do, quite frankly, the victims deserve that, as do the accused as well, to discuss the totality of the case and determine the right disposition. Is the counseling ongoing? Is the victim receiving treatment? Does the victim need improved treatment? Or do we want to extend this until next month when we keep the case open for another 30 days and review it again to see if the victim is getting the proper the treatment he or she may want, or is the investigation closed and some type of adjudication made against the accused? Now, obviously, those involved should be protected, and as you can see by my passion in my voice is taken very seriously and should be taken very seriously, especially for those soldiers of any rank.
Yes, sir.
Or civilians in some cases that may have been victims. So it is something that a commander should be involved with. The commander has a responsibility for the good order and discipline of the unit and maintaining a culture of trust, and this is all part of it.
Right. So basically, it's more sensitivity to what the category of the discussion is, not so much a blanket. Everyone's got to get out.
That is correct.
Okay.
Let's just say, just like with anything, whether it's a sexual assault related thing or a car or a DUI, if there's an ongoing investigation, there's some sensitivities and protections that should come with that, especially in the dialogue with the investigating agency or the lawyer that should be in the room as well. And that lawyer that's in the room, that commander should. Between the two of them, make sure we stay within the boundaries of what should be discussed. But at the end of the day, this is to ensure that the victim gets the proper treatment and protections and all that should help him or her, as is the accused. And what is done and all that results in a more culture of trust and cohesive teams, which we need. And something I've personally dealt with, as I said, for a long time in command.
No, okay. My apologies. I didn't want to make it sound like it was because of that process was what it is.
I didn't take it the wrong way at all. I was very happy to discuss this.
Okay. Okay. I was like, oh, I didn't want to get a phone call.
No, not at all. This is important stuff. Our soldiers deserve it.
Right.
Our soldiers deserve it.
True that, sir. True that. Okay. So last one I think is going to be what are Brevit promotions? And I think I got two more questions. What are Brevit promotions? Then I have another one and then I have two more after that. So what are Brevit promotions?
Okay, I'll try and do it in 1 minute or less. It's also part of our 21st century talent management and an authorization that we had received from Congress, as we did through the last National Defense Authorization Act. That's the formal part.
Okay.
The Brevit promotion is when a soldier, in this case officers, may be serving in an authorized position at one rank higher than them, which does not have a seat to fill it. I'll pick an example. A Corps or Division G3 slot, operations officer, which may be authorized an 06 colonel, but hasn't been filled an 06 colonel. So a lieutenant colonel can move into that position and be breveted, promoted up to the rank of colonel, and paid at that rank of colonel. And if they should leave that job before their scheduled promotion to the rank of colonel, they would revert back to lieutenant colonel, and so would their pay. If they should be promoted while in that brevet position, then it would convert up to a natural promotion, and they would continue on. And we received authorization for over 700 of those across the Army. We're at a much lower approved rate of that right now, and there is a formalized process at which the command has to ask for it and be approved through our resources command, depending upon the respective position.
Okay.
So bluffed it, one rank.
Yeah. It's basically almost like that's all we used to call frocking. I was just asking.
Roughly similar, but
right.
It isn't indeed something that we had to bid for, but request through our National Defense Authorization Act and received approval for it.
Okay.
By law.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say you got to get congressional approval for that. So that's definitely you're not really you're not winging it on that one. Okay, so these last two questions are pretty serious. So first off, the Secretary of Defense just released the lifted the ban on service of transgendered personnel. Is the Army already looking at a plan to implement that?
Yes, and it's probably best I take that one on as a G1 as well. As you mentioned, it will be a Department of Defense-wide policy. And to be very transparent, we're expecting soon, but I have not received the DoD policy on what it will be in 2021 for transgender soldiers. So currently what the Army is doing is looking at a previous policy that would have been about as back as 2016, just to see what it was before the ban was put in place. And had at this point, not released, but drafting a policy that we will nest to the updated guidance that we receive through Department of Defense, which we expect to be very soon. What I fully expect, if a soldier is qualified physically, mentally, and legally, and can meet the standards of joining, he or she will be allowed to join.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
And stay in as well.
And I was about to say, and stay in. So will that mean that currently, right now, soldiers that are currently that are transgender right now, I guess, would this be the time for them to come out? Is this the ability for them to go ahead and have them integrated in the force openly?
Well, I honestly, I really can't speculate on what's going to come out because it hasn't yet.
Okay.
But I anticipate soldiers that obviously have great character and have met all the standards to serve will be allowed to continue to serve. But I just can't speculate where the policy is going to go because it literally has not been published yet, and we do expect it very soon.
It literally just got recently released, or I'm sorry, lifted. So. It's like immediate. I'm asking you real time questions, sir. We got you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
Okay. There's been news out, and this is the last serious one. There's been news out of how we're going to combat extremism. Is there any plans to the Army that they're going to roll out a plan for combating extremism in any type or shape or form?
Yes, it's most probably best I take that one on too. One, we're going to training the force on what extremism is, which is important. But I can say across all the services, soldiers, regardless of the component, active duty, National Guard, Reserve, who are in, I would say, documented or legitimate extremist type organizations, and I couldn't name them, that indeed bring harm and go against the ethics and values of the military.
Of course.
And really just the norms, it just won't be tolerated. And I can't speak to the level of discipline that may come with it, but if a soldier, officer, anybody, regardless of the component, is in that kind of organization which goes against the core values of the Army and the laws, quite frankly, they should get out.
Of course.
So there'll be obviously within our command authorities some discipline against that. But the bluff, it just goes against what's right, goes against the Constitution, it goes against the oath that you took as an officer or enlisted. And part of it's going to start with training. And this will be across the Department of Defense. I really expect it to be uniform. And we can just look back a couple of weeks and see that it just goes against the values of what we joined for.
Oh, I agree, sir. I'm looking forward to see what the plan is for rolling out. Guys, we're out of time. Sergeant Major, Carol, we totally appreciate you guys joining in, and like I said, we didn't expect to have the whole G1 fire team here, but this is awesome. We appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Absolutely enjoyed all of it.
Well, you guys,
and I say the same. Great team, and I'm glad to be with my battle buddies tonight.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are always welcome to come back to give us updates too, sir. You don't now you're part of the now you have. I'm going to say this to the audience. Right before on break, we have the most senior Army civilian and senior Army leader on WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments ever. So this has definitely been a historic event. So we appreciate you guys hanging out. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And with that, we're going to, everyone go ahead and go hit the head. If you need to go relieve yourselves, get a drink, and we'll be right back. So everyone stand by. Shots.
Right here, right now. I'm better without you. You're always on my mind. But right here, right now. I'm better without you. I've had this for some time. But right now, I know that I'm better on my own.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show.
Shots. And we're back with the last half of Sergeant's time. Woof, man. That was a lot of questions. There was a lot of... Oh man, that was some good dialogue and feedback. Okay, so real quick, let me ask you. I was already talking to Sergeant Major, and we were discussing the points. And here's the thing: everybody, there's processes and stuff, and Spanky, you've told me this too. Some of the tips and tricks of how email poll works and how different processes are. Usually it's between the 22nd or 22nd, 25th are usually when email poll transactions happen, and then there's a time window that the processes and stuff like that have to go through. Well, soldiers know about this now. Everyone knows about this inside baseball stuff. So now there's an expectation. So your knowledge of this S1 secret, your knowledge of this email poll magic is an expectation to you guys, and so it's going to be any time at this moment from what Sergeant Major said. That's why he said, that's why there was this unexpected window when it comes to the promotion points. You guys just already had a little bit of a, this is going to happen. Like, this is happening right now. So that's not the case. The case is that from that window and that period of time, and their processes, like he was just saying earlier, people getting out, people retiring, people ETSing, and then sometimes at different times of the month, specific trends of how many numbers of coming in or getting out of the Army are the ones that articulate all those promotion stuff and all that. So there's a big numbers thing, all geeky stuff. I know nothing about math, so I was just going to say, okay, cool, roger that. All right, understand. Okay, so that was the thing for that. Now
That was for the promotion.
that was for the promotions. Spanky, what did you find out about? What did you find out about the other stuff? This is funny. Go ahead.
This is straight from G1 themselves. It has nothing to do with the females on the board, the males on the board. Not one person officially requested beards. Yes, typing on Facebook is not an official request. Not one person in the entire Army sent in a DA Form 28, which is recommended changes to publications, to the G1 requesting beards. All of these other changes, I'm even going to say, females put in for. They did the 28s and asked for nail polish, earrings, let us have ponytails. Not one person sent in a form officially requesting beards. Not one. G1 got no.
That is hilarious. That's almost sounds like somebody who wants to go on leave, but just wants to go on leave, but never puts in a leave form.
Yes. And I'm posting directly out of this AR-670-1.
Oh, man.
Exactly how to do suggestion improvements.
That is freaking hilarious. That is so you so women soldiers
2028.
2028.
Yeah. I did post the comment and I copied the suggested improvements directly out of AR-670-1, like exactly how to request improvements.
Oh my
Users they're invited to send comments and
gosh,
suggested
this is
improvements
awesome.
on DA Form 2028, and it gives the address. It gives the address where it's supposed to go to, because in each reg, if you have a suggested improvements for, we'll have where you can submit it to, like for this
Fred.
here, 670-1.
You see Fred, it will be Fred was like, Fred's like, it'll be submitted tomorrow.
And I'm
He's
sure
all
it's going to be, they're not going to do another panel right away. They like, how long did it take them to do this panel to go through all the suggestions? But yes, y'all need to officially request it.
That's right,
Nobody's
men's.
done that.
All right, men's. So there you go. So all this whining and crying about no beards, men's, you didn't. We as men's didn't turn out.
Pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
We did. We said, I want ponytails. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
where's-
Women.
fill out this form.
Yeah, knowing Spanky with her inside scoops with the J1 and Morgan, you probably had a hand in this, probably, I wonder exactly that, Chris. How many emails are they going to get tomorrow now? So men's, fill in the DA form from them beards. Have a good reason why. I know there are some soldiers that the reason why it is hygienic for beards. Like I said before, I had soldiers who got shaving bumps, and it was watching. I had told them, I just said myself, I don't give a fuck about they won't give me a shaving profile, and I just I don't care. I don't want to see your face bleeding like that anymore. Just don't shave your face. And so I had soldiers that had beards, and I had some leaders go, "Is I got a shaving profile?" Okay, now that I'm out, I can say this. Yeah, they had shaving profiles because I didn't want to see their face getting torn up. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, God, man, it looked like it hurt.
Exactly, and that is a legit reason.
Right.
Why? I mean, how much time will it save medical providers to not have to write shaving profiles or see soldiers for shaving profiles if they could just grow a beard?
Right. So men's, you have your task, men's. You need to go ahead and everybody right now, all men's that are listening, and when this gets uploaded and all that through all the channels that we're playing on, we are currently playing live on Facebook. We're on two Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitter right now, and Twitch. So right now, all of you send those documents. Don't send them to those. I'm just saying, if you're listening, send them to the address that Spanky put up in the chats. I can't believe it. Nobody.
And that address is on the first page of AR-670-1.
That is hilarious. When Sergeant Major said nobody requested it, I about fell out.
Well, and it also makes sense why they allow clear nail polish for men, and probably no men asked for that either. But I'm going to assume that the reasons women gave to want to wear nail polish apply to men as well. They just didn't want to see guys with colors on it.
That's probably what too.
Sure, there's lots of reasons why you would want to wear nail polish.
So I think we should. Yeah, I think go ahead. Is that illegal for me to call for a massive men's start filling out the filling out the actions? Because that's what it was. Literally, that's literally. Okay, so I had a 3-star general, a senior Army civilian, and a sergeant major tell me that's what it was. There were hardly any requests for a beard to come in or a logical reason. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was no official request.
Right.
None.
Yeah, exactly.
None. That was what he said. I wrote that down.
Yep.
Quote.
Yeah. So there was none. So you had 3 senior Army officials say there was no request for beards, and everyone was complaining about beards and throwing up memes and jokes.
Yeah.
And you notice, ooh, that's some sneaky stuff. That is some sneaky stuff, because then there was probably Big Sarge out there. Maybe if you don't tell them to submit it, then they won't get beards.
But it's not a secret. It's right there in black and white in the first page.
You're right. This is kind of. I'm gonna tell you guys. You got the women beat you on the standards. The women got what they wanted. There you go. See, you're complaining about women and what they got for their military for their uniform wear, but you come to realize that you didn't even get the men's failed on the beards. God, this is so awesome. This is hilarity.
Indeed.
This is hilarity. I can't believe that. So, anyways, again, once again, we wish we wish you guys well in doing this endeavor, because I know right now everyone's scrambling. Right, I can see the chats going off. We're gonna crash the site, man. Oh man, this is awesome. So, real quick, again. We totally appreciate the Chief of Staff of the Army allowing the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, General Brito, Sergeant Major Clark, and Ms. Carol Burton, because this right here, this was a big event for us. Again, we appreciate you guys coming on and allowing to hear the Army. This is again record. This is record setting. Senior ranking individuals from the Army coming on WTF Nation Radio. Man, we can just keep going to the top. We can get the chief next. We can get the Joint Chiefs of Staff as well, man. We get the SecDef to come on here. You know what I mean? That'd be awesome.
I know. I'm excited.
I know. We can just and he wants to come back too. He wants to hang out. So this is gonna be cool. So again, General Brito, Sergeant Major Clark, and Ms. Carol Burton, thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate you guys hanging out. So we're gonna do some housekeeping. Break out the lemon pledge. It's time for some housekeeping. Real quick, there's going to be some programming notes. There are going to be some changes to some programming, because this week is going to be the last week for Friday Night Freedom for a little bit, and it's going to be changed to sporadic showings with Cause on Saturday due to his work schedule, which, again, he is in Global. Sergeant Major Mark Clark, G1, Army, Deputy Chief of Staff. He is in Global. So there's going to be, after this week, there's going to be a scheduling change. And of course, we're going to start digging through, and we might be able to throw some other individuals in there. Hell, I might pull a Friday too. You never know. But this Friday, we're going to have Derek Jones, and he's a Navy veteran. He'll be on to talk about his latest EP, "The Last of the Dying Breed." After serving time in the U.S. Navy, Jones picked up a guitar and never looked back. From appearing to the Today Show, Pickler, Ben and Good Morning America, and Australia, to writing songs for major television outlets to include tracks for the Sportsman Channel's Tailgate Adventures, a theme song to Fisher's ATV World, Velocity Channel, and NBC Sports. Derek Jones has no shortage of determination. He's only toured with Billy Ray Cyrus. He's toured with Billy Ray Cyrus for 4 years. Open for Charlie Daniels, rest in peace, and Trace Atkins, Dwight Yoakam, Ashley McBride, James Johnson, Shooter Jennings, and Blackberry Smoke, and more. And it's not if he's been performing to thousands already. His latest EP, Pray, atop the Amazon chart at number 1 and reached number 7 on iTunes. And then next, Joe Pacino's coming back again.
Yes.
Okay. Again. Next Sergeant's Time. Our friend.
I'm not lying. When we invite y'all back, we invite y'all
I know.
back.
It's, our friend Joe Pacino, 18th Airborne Corps, PAO. I will say this. I'm just going to cut into. I'm glad you brought this up. The Dragon's Lair program was phenomenal. Also, the portion, the side panel of the discussion of sexual assault, sexual harassment, implementation and procedures. A great panel. I got to see behind the scenes of some of the stuff, and it's truly an honor to be part of that. And he's going to come on and talk a little bit about that as well. But he's also going to talk about the Doomsday Clock. You guys been playing, Call of Duty Cold War and stuff like that, and you're all laughing about all that stuff. Ha ha ha. Well, Joe Pacino's going to be like doing that stuff, talking about all the. This is how you relate to the kids, Spanky. You know what? All the stuff that you saw on Call of Duty Cold War, Pacino's going to talk about the real world stuff, not the Call of Duty stuff. So it's a new podcast that's going to be coming on January. That launched January 2021, and it's the history that you never learned in history class, and it's awesome that all units are doing the podcasting stuff. I love it. You get the Lancer Brigade doing all this other stuff. I love it when units are doing their own. I almost like to say that they're just like little WTF Nation radios all around their army. This is so. My eyes are watering. There must be onion cutting ninjas around here. No, it's great. So Joe Pacino's going to come on here. Don't forget we have a show. Well, we won't have a show because it's a scheduling change. 4 days a week. There will be 4 days a week with some sporadic here and there's on Saturdays. We have Friday Night Freedom with Kaz and Pookie. Monday is the Monday edition with myself and Flash. And then Tuesday is the Pop Culture Warrior with the unpop cultured Radar and of course the host CQ Michael Carrasquillo, the pop culture who is now all known in the pop cultureness. He is busy as hell in the pop cultureness. I've been privy to some emails and he's busy. He's busy. Right? He is busy doing a lot of pop culturing. So check out his page. He's also been getting, and he's not really being, I don't know, he's being too forthcoming, but I don't know where he's getting this stuff. But have you seen his Pop Culture Warrior page? He's got like behind the scenes stuff to The Walking Dead World Beyond. Have you seen that?
I know. He makes me want to watch Walking Dead again.
I know he's posting all that stuff on his page. I'm like, dude, where are you getting these scoops? So world exclusive imagery, and I think he's going to be getting a video, maybe an interview from some of the cast members of The Walking Dead World Beyond. But pay attention, you never know. I think he's doing that just to kind of like tease everybody to see what's next. And then of course we have Sergeant's Time every Thursday with myself and Spanky, giving you all the entertainment news, sergeanting, and of excellence of sergeants. So with that, you got anything for me? You got anything you want to say? Anything, whatever? Because
oh no, I'm happy with the whole beard thing. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet dreams, y'all. Thanks for joining us.
You guys, exactly. You guys and gals, thanks for hanging out, and y'all have a good night. See you.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Up our intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. Though critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space Force.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.